Hello there. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Forgotten Circus. So I'm going to go over my season premiere, season 2 of Loki. This is going to be my spoiler review reaction. Um, yeah, if you haven't watched season 1 of Loki, you might have to. We'll get back into that. But can we all say that He Who Kwan is a national treasure? Protect him. He Who Kwan, aka Short Round, aka Mr. Booty Traps. Um, yeah, protect him at all cost. This guy is phenomenal. I'm so glad that he's back into acting because he's great. So let's go over it. And I love me some Loki. Loki, I think, has one of the best character arcs in Marvel right now. He's probably the only thing that's, and it's surprising by just this episode alone. Disney, don't mess this one up because Tom Hiddleston as Loki, he's always been good, but he is taking it to different levels. You can tell he loves this character. You can definitely see it. And Owen Wilson is great. So let's get into it. So if you think they do the little recap. If you think they're going to explain in this episode, you get the recap. That's why recaps are there, because they get right into where they left off. The instant of the last episode of last season, they get right into it. And this episode is it's nonstop. You get a lot of story with stuff, but it's nonstop. So, you get to the point where if you watch last season, they're chasing Loki because the timeline with Kang the Conqueror is all messed up now because He Who Remains has obviously been killed by Sylvie. Sylvie went on her own way and kicked Loki back into that timeline. But is he really in that timeline? So something got created with Loki where he can time skipping, yeah, and it's insane. And I love the jokes about it when they're like, "Oh yeah, it doesn't look that bad." He's like, "Yeah, okay, it doesn't hurt that much," knowing full well it probably does hurt to Loki. But remember, he's a god; he's got a lot of pride, and yeah. And then the lady on the elevator was hilarious. I know she was an extra, but wow, that was really good. The show is great. So they get into it. They don't really know who he is. He time skips again, and then he time skips to basically where it's just amazing how they're doing this. And it makes sense. The show makes sense with the time in the multiverse. Because with the multiverse of madness, and you saw it started getting created in Loki, I mean, it was really Sylvie that started it all. But it was already kind of there anyway with Kang. But so the TVA does not know what's going on right now. The statues have changed. That's what they know. So it's going back and forth from them, like Loki kind of not being there. So they're trying to figure stuff out. But he's time skipping through and kind of giving. And I did like how they can give each other messages and talk to each other, or he can give the messages for the future, past, and present, because he's time skipping through all, which is insane. This episode is insane. And sorry if I'm getting a lot of stuff wrong, because I'm just really happy that Marvel is actually producing something. And it's only one episode, I get it. So another person this is gonna be kind of a quick one run through. I don't want to keep it too long. But so Hunter B-15. So they get in, and I guess they find out, they were like, wait, Loki was here? I always forget he's the one that had the Infinity Stones. He's like, yeah, so Loki. And he's like, wait, Loki's here? And they're like, oh, yeah, whatever. Because they know in that timeline, because they think Loki's like gone, you know? So Hunter B-15, I did not like her. At the end, I did in the first season. But now it's like she's got another character arc. She is like the go-to with like compassion and like, hey, man, something's wrong here. And she was so stonewalled and so stone-faced and so stoic, and now it's a totally different. She's playing like two different roles, which is insane. Hunter B-15, you have my respect, because now it's like, yo, She's speaking facts on a lot of stuff, and she's more compassionate. I really like it. Uh, so finally, they're like, we're going to the war room, and so they go. Time skips, and he kind of screams at Mobius and Hunter B-15. They kind of look back, but he time skips out. Uh, which is dude, it is pretty weird because the lady in the elevator even looked at him like, oh, it looks bad. And he's like, I thought you didn't. And I like how they brought up the jet ski thing again. Get this man a jet ski. Get Mobius a jet ski, please. It's going to happen. I believe they're going to save it for the end of the series, probably. But he obviously has to be in this whole Kang saga because Loki's very important. He's at the root of it. All right, so they go into the war room, and instantly I had already and so Veronica Renslayer, everybody's like, where's Veronica Renslayer? Because I guess they're trying to blame Veronica Renslayer for it. Yeah, she's part of it, but it's Kang. They don't know that yet. This will show up shortly. So they kind of like brush her off. You know, they're like, oh, well, I don't know, where's Veronica? And then they kind of like, yeah, it's kind of very important. You might want to find her in the timeline. But instantly, Lady Aaron. She's like the general or whatever of the TVA. I guess she's more of the military. She's in charge of the military for the TVA. Old Lady Aaron. Old breastfeeding woman from Game of Thrones. I didn't know her accent is that thick. Jeez. But she is like, she understands, and then she's like, nope. And I don't know what her fascination is with younger dudes. If anybody knows what I'm talking about from Game of Thrones. With her one what was his name? X5. I'll just start calling him X-Pac. Her one Hunter that's loyal to her. She's kind of like a little too close to this guy. I don't know if it's her son. Maybe it's her son, but we all know what she does with her children. It's pretty weird. But anyway, so you get that, and they actually tell, and then Loki shows up, and Hunter B-15, another great scene where she's telling him like, dude, we're all from different timelines. Those people from different timelines, we can't destroy them. They're all alive. That's like killing people. And they're like, I do understand. And then Loki finally pops up, kind of shows him the wall, and he's like, everything was hidden. He masked everything. Kang's all over that place. So they do that, and then they get to the part where Hunter B-15 and the other guy that pruned, and I like this team that they're building. Hunter B-15, the other guy that pruned Mobius and Mobius. You got Mobius and Mobius, and then you got Loki, and now you got He Who Quan, OB. And the funny thing is, OB, I guess Loki gave him the nickname because he's been jumping back and forth because Boris or whatever. It's something weird, but and he's like, OB, I like that. So I guess he's like the tech guy. He's like your tech support of the whole TVA. So not a lot of people visit this guy, and I feel bad. But the last person he saw was Mobius. So he's the second one all the way down. So he's on the bottom floor, and then the bottom floor, I guess, was where the actual time thing was. So and I like how they have that retro, kind of like retro theme of everything. Everything's like 70s and 80s feel, but still has the technology. It's pretty cool. Kind of like steampunk, or maybe not. But Loki's finally there. They go there. He's like, yeah, I haven't been here in a while. And he was just bullshitting the whole time. It had been like 400 years. And I like how Tom Hiddleston and Owen Wilson he just called him out the whole time. They're like totally best friends now. They're almost like brothers. And he's like calling him out. He's like, oh yeah, you been here? Nobody's like, no. Once he came, he's the last person I saw. He's like, oh, how long ago? About 400 years. And Mobius trying to play it off like, no, I come here all the time. I've been here a lot with OB. Yeah. Which is pretty funny. I did like that. So they come up with this plan. If they build this, so they got to prune themselves, or Loki has to prune himself in order for the machine to work, to kind of pull the timelines in place a little bit so they can control them more. Which, I don't know, it's too all over the place. It proves. So Loki says, "All right." He time skips out, and then he goes. He's in the future, and he's in the war room. And then the funny thing is, what I don't think a lot of people notice, Mobius puts um, skin on there because he who Quan keeps saying, "Yeah, if this happens, yeah." And I like how he's communicating with Ob in the future, past and present, and everything like that to show him how to kind of build that machine or what's going on. So he time skips in and back and forth, and he's like, "Oh, okay." That's why when he's like, you see in the previews, like time skipping. Have you seen it before? Yeah. Can you stop it? No, because at that time during the conversation, Loki's talking to him in an actual another time, which I think is the future. No, the past, because he didn't have glasses on then. If anybody knows that, he had his glasses off, and now he has his glasses on. So he's going back in the past and teaching him how to make. So Loki time skips out, has to be at a certain point, and then Mobius, and I love how they keep saying, "Yeah," and his skin will fall off, and Mobius is like, "Why is it only me that's something?" And then Loki did have a good point. He's like, "Well, if I mess up, my whole existence gets spread out through all these timelines, and I could never put it back together. So he's just like this entity running through like particles everywhere." So both of them are like, "Is this a good plan?" But it's the only plan. So he gets there, and Mobius is going to the machine, which that scene is incredible. And he goes to the machine, and he shows the timelines where it's splitting. So you got the one single timeline into the machine, right? And then you have the other one splitting off because that's what was affected. Because I guess it branches. It's like veins in the body, kind of. So Mobius in this big awkward spacesuit, which I don't know if it's made for this. I get it, but with the big tube, and he said, "Is there a crack in this?" And OB's just like, puts duct tape over it. Like, so this has happened before. So he's getting to the machine, and they only have a certain amount of time. So I don't know what the whole pause was with Loki when he's in there. He's in the future, he's in the future, the past. See, it's so crazy. It's so good. So Loki's in a different timeline, and he's trying to get to the war room, so he can prune himself, and then we can try and get these timelines intact where they're manageable. But the phone is ringing, and then it's taking him a little long, and then we go back to Mobius and OB, and he's saying that, hey, OB's like, "Hey, you got 30 seconds, bro." He's like, no, he's still there. He's got time. And he's like, he's lost. He should have been back by now. So I like how he gave him an extra 3 seconds. He said he got it all the way down to 3, and he was like, 3. Because even he had hope, but he knows he has to protect. He has to protect the whole timeline. So that's something he has to do, and I don't blame him. So he starts to shut the blast doors, and Moby's trying to walk back. And then, so they jump back to Loki, and Sylvie finally comes through the elevator. He's like, "There you are." And it's totally different Sylvie. So we know she's bounced around the timelines too. She kind of probably knows what's going on. And she's like, "Oh," and she's trying to get to them. But before he could say anything, somebody prunes him. So it kind of makes it work where they can kind of make it manageable. So it actually worked out in his favor a little bit. I don't know who pruned him, though. I want to know who pruned this guy. Somebody tell me. Because I didn't see. Maybe I missed it. Somebody say in the comments. All right, so we get that, and then he skips through the timeline. Remember, he's a god, so he's not going to get ripped apart by that as of yet, because obviously Mobius was in the suit. His suit was falling apart, and then Tom Hiddleston's Loki was totally fine. And tell me how Tom Hiddleston has become like, I don't even call him a hero anymore. I mean, an anti-hero. He's a straight hero. Thor would be proud of that dude. I wish Thor could be seeing this. He'd be like, that's Loki? Like, yeah. Total character arc. Great. So they go back and they kind of like, and then you see old Lady Aaron, Miss Breast Milk. She's taking all these hunters with all these bombs, the ones that reset the whole timeline. And she's going to time Hunter B-15, the other dude that pruned Mobius. I'll just start calling him Mobius. But they're like, this is a little overkill. Just for Sylvie, you should probably only need 1, 2 of those. Why? Because they're going to try and blow up all of the timelines. Because she wants it to be the same. She's almost like Kang. She wants it to be how it is. And if we do this, we don't have a job. I mean, if we don't do this, we don't have a job. What is our point? Because it'd be only one timeline, so you wouldn't need us. Understand that part. But she's more of a villain to me. But then it ends. And then the credits come. And if anybody knows anything about Loki, Loki is Loki. He's the god of mischief. Now he's just, I don't know. He's like a savior god now. It's like, oh, look at this dude. Odin would be proud. He'd be like, that is my son. Yep. Finally. But it ends, and then you would think, so always look at Loki. So when the credits pop up, the credits are pretty important too, because they show you little things that you missed. So you might as well watch all the credits, because at the end, usually with Loki, you got a whole other scene, and then they show Sylvie. Spoiler alert. And Sylvie's going into McDonald's, the old school. I think it's McDonald's back in the 70s and 80s, right? And she sees all the families, and I feel her. She got ripped from her family when she was young. That's the whole reason why she did this. And she's looking around, she sees all the families and the kids, and she just looks happy. And she's like, I like how she's like, no rabbit squirrels or anything like that. It needs to be cooked. And the dude's like, okay. and he's like, what do you want to try? And she was like, I want to try everything. So I think she's like, she knows she messed up, but she knows she just wants family. But this team that they're building, this is going to be cool. So you're going to have Obi Hihu Kwan. You're going to have Hunter B-15, which I love now. She's awesome. She's gonna be like the mom in this group, and Mobius is gonna be like the dad. Mobius. The other Hunter that pruned him, which I like because he caught about that. I was like, sorry, I pruned you, bro. He was like, yeah, well, your apology is fine. I need an apology for Veronica Renslayer. And then Sylvie. I think it's going to be a great team up, and they're very important to beating Kang. So that whole Kang Dynasty thing, yeah, and the Avengers coming back, possibly Thor. The biggest part is probably going to be them, and I like how they're built. This episode is great. If we can keep it on this pace, Marvel and Disney, I will shut up for a little bit about you. Granted, I don't like how the companies run, but I'll shut up for a little bit. But it's building up to something good. This first episode hit so hard. And it's nonstop. And that's what I like. They got a lot of stuff out the way. A lot of stuff was explained. Characters were introduced perfectly. That's how you pace it. And it was a longer episode too. It was like 40 some minutes. It felt a little short because everything was going on. You were so involved. But you could make it a little longer. But I think that for this episode, that was good. But you need to go see it. I want everybody to go see it. Or like you're going out to the theater. Just click on and watch it. It's good. It's going to make you want to watch the first season. But that episode right there beats every episode in the first season. Hands down. Every single episode. Even the one with when you had all the Lokis. And Abeloth. Why I keep saying Abeloth. Whatever that creature was, the dragon thing. But that's kind of my spoiler review. I gave it this episode literally 2 thumbs up. And I want more. I can't wait. I'm going to be glued to the television. I wish you could make the season longer, but I think if you do episodes like this, get formalities out the way, then some of the other episodes later on in the season, you can make it a little, and yeah, it was just perfectly paced. So anyway, tell me what you think. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time. And hopefully, everyone, and I do mean everyone,